Mike's hot. Well, but it's good. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why we do a countdown. All right. Well, this is gonna set the atmosphere for the stream. But they could be here in 3 minutes. You can't say that about the future, Vinny. Okay.
One knows.
Hello and welcome to all students, fans of GMU Overwatch. I am Hamster Quest, here with a very special guest, a former GMU Overwatch player, Griff.
Hello, everyone. It's been a while, but I'm happy to be back, and I'm looking forward to an exciting match tonight.
Me too, me as well, and I'm real excited to have you here. Let me tell you a little bit about what's been going down ever since.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a.
You've been here.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a little catch up real quick. So if you'd be so kind.
Okay. Well, you definitely didn't know this. There's GMU is playing in 3 leagues, and so NACE is the competition for tonight. This is week 7, which GMU has had a bye week already in week 1 or 2, but that puts us at 6 wins currently and no losses. So far, GMU is the last undefeated team in our group, and I think Southeast 1 or 2. I forget the number. So this will be real exciting if GMU can pull out another couple wins here. I believe there's 10, maybe 11 weeks. So we still got a few more weeks to go, but it's looking like this will be the first undefeated season ever since GMU reverse sweeped Shenandoah a week or 2 ago. So that was
yeah. That was part of my return. I was watching that match. What a sight it is to hold. Always love a reverse sweep.
Yeah, speaking of reverse sweeps, I think the last time we had one was actually when you were on the team. I don't remember who we were playing, but it was on Lijiang. I remember what's his name, Matthew Inf.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Called for a pause. Remember that?
I do. The tack pause. Oh my gosh!
Pause.
You're really testing my memory with this one, but
yeah, it was a mouse difficulty actually. Definitely not a tack pause.
But a tech pause.
Yeah, then we reversed the Lijiang map, and then the rest of the series, and that was the only, as far as I remember, that's the only reverse sweep we've seen. Honest to God, a reverse sweep in GMU history.
Makes them something to behold, the fact that they only happen so often.
Yeah, absolutely.
But hey, it sounds like a lot of stuff is coming back to when I first played. I'd be happy to see all these players sort of trounce on whatever records we had, as long as they're going up. That's a good thing.
We actually have I've kept a Google Doc of like all of our records, and we've never had below a 66% win rate in any regular season. So GMU's always been a very strong team, with the exception of I think spring 2018, but we don't talk about it. That was right after you left, and everyone was so sad.
Well, I apologize for that, but
it's all your fault now.
Yeah.
Because
I'm here to redeem myself for that season. Then that's what I'm here for.
Getting you back on the cast just to redeem this, to fuel GMU's hype and get our first top 8 in a league. The other 2 leagues we're playing in is ABC, which is formerly TESPA. That's Activision Blizzard Collegiate. Currently, they're 5-1 in there. We'll never go undefeated in another Activision Blizzard Collegiate bracket, just because you just play other people that are undefeated. So they'll get their wins. I think they were like 4-0, and it's like, oh, time to play Harrisburg.
Yeah, Harrisburg or Maryville or the California college, the dreaded California colleges we used to have to play back in the day.
Yeah, and so the kind of like the what's happening in the collegiate scene right now is a lot of schools are finally catching up. The bureaucracy is catching up that they should give like esport programs a fighting chance, get some student scholarship, give them some nice esports arenas, stuff like that. And now the geolocation of any college doesn't really matter. While California is real hot for esports, it's really I think just UC Irvine is one of the top California schools. I'm forgetting a lot, so
you're
a lot
right.
of them aren't really talking.
You don't have to give me any excess information you go to. I might overload my brain. So for
Okay, good.
better or worse, you're keeping it simple for me. We're good here.
Yeah. So now what's going on I would say the top four. We're still debating it in a collegiate server. I don't know if we're debating it, but there's Redbirds, which is University of Illinois, and they have drafted basically I think 4 members of American Tornado.
Oh,
so they just have a contenders team.
Yes, heard the news of American Tornado and all that, and
right.
Glad to see that there's still a scene struggling along.
In contenders. Yeah, it's still there. It's still but it's funny because I think collegiate will surpass them.
Yeah, that's what it's yeah. I think that's actually a kind of a good thing.
That is a good
thing. To have a more consistent scene.
Yeah, it not that like athletic sports are like the best example. They're a pretty okay one, but it's moving more towards that in that players will now be playing in college and hopefully get drafted out of college to pro leagues, and more of that model may be helpful for the scene. We'll see it. A lot of esports players are really young though.
I think that's good for not just the scene, but the players as a whole. The whole thing was always like, oh, don't risk your school or everything on pursuing the dream. But when the scene's trending towards being able to do both at the same time, it's probably a great thing for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see at least George Mason as one of the ones that's trending towards with what you all have worked to create. I know it was we were esports campus divided back in the day, but you guys have built quite a good organization.
Yeah, I've a lot of the staff in the GMU Overwatch when we had it in fall 2018 kind of became the main staff in GMU Esports together. A lot of names I'll shout out, like Old Man Spidey and HK Lee really put in a good amount of work to make a program come into fruition. And we have a very great director at student involvement, Lauren, who's just like been the best in my mind. No. I cannot give enough praise to the amount of care and attention we get from student involvement. So that's great.
Absolutely.
But all right, hopping back on the topic of this match, we are currently waiting on one player. It looks like, and it is legal in NACE, I believe, to run a 5v6, so we won't get forfeited.
Nice.
And I think that would, if I was SAU right now, I'd be hoping for that, because you're looking at the team that you're like, hey, last week we just got swept by a team. I don't know if it was last week specifically, but the teams that have swept SAU, GMU has swept. So there's 2 layers of sweeping going on.
Yes.
There's no dust left.
An uphill battle for sure.
It's gonna be definitely tough. They're definitely looking for GMU played like Harrisburg not too long ago, and the mentality when you go into those matches where you're up against a David versus Goliath scenario, you're looking for inches, you're looking for respect that you can take a few points, taking a round of cough.
You're looking for the small victories for sure.
They are definitely looking for those, and so but they could turn that around into
pretty quickly.
Wind if
George Mason looking to play Overwatch 2 a little bit early with the 5 players instead of 6.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's a good reference.
No mercy from you or I, not signed on as well, actually, I don't know in your case, but I'm definitely not allowed to play, as we discussed earlier. So I'm going to be sitting my butt right here on the cast. But
absolutely. If I did have enough credits, then we would have that good backup plan. But I do not. I'm only taking 3 credits, and CSL requires, I believe, full time or at least part time. They won a lot of credits. And MAEC or MACE and ABC both I think only require any amount of credits as long as you're enrolled in the
Gotcha.
university and currently taking classes. So I'm actually able to play in those two. I've played a few
Yes.
MAEC matches, usually Saturday at noon, because our main tank, who's the one's missing right now, is usually at work. I think he actually gets out of work at 7 most of the days, and so
Looks
he's
like
able
we
to play
have.
the afternoon matches, or the evening. But what were we gonna say?
Looks like we have a bit of information in the game chat here, so we should be starting fairly soon.
Oh, yeah. It looks like GMU might be bringing up a sub from one of their lower rosters, CSL. Zenik is a very good player. I remember he's actually played in a few scrims for GMU, and so it looks like GMU is going to be pulling him in to perform main tank for a teammate today. I think he normally plays off tank.
Gotcha. I'm a bit worried here. The stream obviously can't see it. There we go. It's fixed. But for a second, Zenik was matching icons with the enemy team, so
Oh no!
didn't want the synergy to be there. It might be a little bit of a legal backdoor right there, but icons are all sorted out. It's one of the most important things. I know back when I was a player, we wanted to discuss what icons we were going to match for the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Just starting off on the right foot, whether you're doing summer games or patchy Mario or whatever it might be. You want to make sure that you're got some team synergy from before the match even starts.
Absolutely. I've been seeing that a lot in CSL. In some third-party tournaments, people try to spell some things they probably shouldn't on stream.
Oh,
I'm good
with the Overwatch League icons or whatever else there may be.
Was it? There's Asia and Pacific, and then there's the Shanghai Dragons.
Can see where you're going with that.
Get a few things going.
Yeah.
There's the. All right, I'll drop that.
Yeah, you're good.
But looks like GMU is and we are
entering game.
Hopping into the game. A lot of the compositions have actually been really diverse in the current meta. I don't know how much you've been currently following any of the last Overwatch League, but
yeah. So Overwatch League specifically, I had been watching. I watched
well, good, because
the Atlanta games and
nice.
all that jazz. They seem to be one of the ones that are using diverse compositions compared to some of the others. But
yeah, and we haven't hit any. I don't think we've hit some like kind of balances, but not really any major balance patches since then. So all the compositions more or less are going to stay the same. Anything's kind of fair game. We've been seeing some double shield, of course. Traditional brawl is always being played, unless some comp is really dominant, which right now it's not. The only weird things that you might see is I don't think a lot of double bubble was being played in OWL. That might be pulled out, but 6-man dive is being played. Right now we can see SAU is opting to play a brawl. It looks like they're having Sombra in there, which is a bit strange, and a Moira over Baptiste. GMU seem to be hiding strats. This is not something. They have some tough matches in AVC, and so they're pulling out the old Washington Justice, double off tank here. Both teams going for the high ground.
Yeah, this is something I'm familiar with. They take the high ground first to make sure they have a better position when they can eventually get onto the point. Some early kills going over to GMU's side.
Yeah, and they're pushing SAU back. Binks is getting a lot of damage in. He's building that blade quite quickly. He's up to 50% there. Zappat capping
Point's
the point.
gonna open up, and Zappat's on duty to get that thing captured so they can start ticking forward.
Yeah, GMU is playing kind of like two heavy spam characters there with the Ashe and the Hog. But it usually how the double off tank worked in the past is you have your Zarya kind of bait, and you play like these lanes, and you usually run a Tracer. But since they have the Ana and the Genji, they're playing for this nano blade win condition on top of this spam comp.
Yeah, and that's why you want to actually play on top of the bridge there, because as soon as they start crossing there, if they're not behind their shield, you can see that Zenik there actually got an early pick right as soon as they're crossing, and that just makes it even more difficult for to find any sort of leverage as they get onto the point.
Yeah, if I was SAU, I don't even know if I'd be going for the point. It looks like they've wised up a little bit here.
Yeah, they're going to try and take the high ground.
Yeah, it's going to be much more beneficial. If you take away space from spam, then you'll fare a lot better. If you just hop on the point, then spam says, sure, you can even flip it maybe. But you're going to lose a lot of resources. Here's Zenith getting the first pick in the fight. Actually, I just noticed Zenith is on the Ash here.
Yeah, so I was,
wait a minute.
confused because you mentioned earlier his off-tank proficiency, but...
I think in tryouts we did see a little bit of his
Nanoblade gonna come in here.
There it is now. He picks up one. He's on the Moira. Doesn't quite get that. There after the blade he does. He's in dangerous territory, but somehow it's not getting picked. He has the deflect and the bubble to get out. But yeah, what I was saying is
back. They took a lot of space there too, forcing them all the way back to spawn.
Yeah, absolutely. And SAU will have a bit of a ult advantage here, just by a little bit. They were disciplined enough not to overcommit to that fight, so they have a little bit of a chance right here. But GMU does have the grab and the whole hog.
And the whole hog. Looks like they're gonna burn it here.
There's the combo. They're gonna try.
Here's pretty good. Soaks a lot of damage.
Yeah. They're gonna freeze that hog as well. Zappat is left to fend on the point, but he has the rally to keep himself nice and healthy.
But it
and
seems,
also not
despite the ults, all the picks are going in the way of GMU here.
Oh yes, and it looks like Zenith the only one falling. What I was trying to say about
Win gets a consolation prize there.
Yeah, just a little bit. Zenith did play some DPS, I think, in tryouts. It's all coming back to me.
So yeah, not entirely like off the wall play there. He's maybe picking up something that he got to try out once before. But GMU take that round fairly convincingly, and we're going on to the next iteration of Nepal. I have to excuse me, I forget almost all of the King of the Hill variations in the different maps.
Last one was Village. This one, I don't know. Elephant is what we call it. It's the one with the elephant.
It does have the elephant by the Mega.
Yeah. And GMU is probably going to be playing for that side. It looks like SAU is up to swap up the composition a little bit. Not sure exactly what they're going for here. Maybe some more comfort picks. They're trying to answer a little bit more of the spam, but they've kept the brawlish tanks. So I don't know how they're going to quite close the distance. I think Reinhardt's going to be a little bit of a dead weight there. But we'll see how it works out. I think this is on the flank right now.
Yeah, putting a lot of pressure on their back line. Oh, and he gets the pick,
solo pick the Hanzo with no resources. Maybe a bubble landed on him. I'm going to miss that. But D.Va going down on the side of SAU. GMU is holding the point very strongly. Binks,
comes Zenik on the flank as well, too. They're going to pinch him here. Everything's going to go the way of George Mason. Baby D.Va on the point, trying to stall as much time as she can, but the objective's already been captured. You're not going to take any percentage away there.
Yeah.
Reset for the next fight.
Yeah, I was worried for a sec there that GMU would stagger that D.Va for a very long time. But it looks like they're playing a little bit respectfully. You know, they have some honor to not stagger that D.Va. No ult's going to be available right away at the start of this fight, but Binks is getting quite close. He's going to get a big dash to the team, but Zenith goes down on the Tracer. SAU playing a little bit slow here, trying to stay safe. They're not able to force a Binks out yet. He does get low finally, but now Mei is down. The blade comes out, and it's slashing multiple targets, cleaving, and it is devastating for SAU.
Yeah, and unfortunately they did swap a couple heroes after that first fight, I believe, so they're not going to have any ultimate charge coming in here either, and George Mason's already captured more than half the point. It's only going to get more difficult. They have their Graviton Surge and the Whole Hog coming up for the next fight, and Zappat has his Transcendence as well. They're going to have both a good offense and defensive ultimates for this next push, and SAU doesn't really have anything in terms of their own tools to answer that. They have the Coalescence up, but everything else is kind of far away when it comes to ult charge.
Yeah, looks like GMU is going to pull the trigger first, and just 3 members quickly go down on the side of SAU. They try to take this like split approach to the point, but GMU just is too fast with it, and D.Va goes down. It looks like SAU might not even get another contest.
Yeah,
I was hoping that... Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. I was gonna say I like how GMU approached that fight, because you saw how that they were split and they just used the BAP window there to sort of pick off one side of the fight. So if it does go wrong, they still have the Whole Hog and the Graviton Surge to come back if they have to retake, but it ends up working in their favor and they don't even need it. I just think it was really good alt economy choice there to burn that window.
Yeah, absolutely. George Mason's a really strong macro team. You'd be surprised at the amount of just like general knowledge in terms of macro play that Overwatch has improved. You know, like we started our seasons. I don't even know if we scrimmed our first season.
Yeah.
Like this is what I learned from comp. You
Let's put it
nano
all
the
together.
Reaper and he just spins around and the things die.
Yeah. I think you touched on that a bit when we were still before the game, just on how some of the comps are actually evolving and you can run multiple different things. It used to be back in the day of early Overwatch when we were playing that there was one best comp, so it was pretty straightforward, and it was just whoever played that comp position better. Counters weren't as much, but you can, like you said, they can definitely see how it's sort of evolved, and the ult economy is way more important.
Yeah, absolutely. In the there's like a very popular PowerPoint that goes around the Overwatch scene. I think called the Macro Fundamentals, written by Thor, who's a coach, right? And in that, it'll talk about dividing up the comps. You know, we talked about brawl, spam, and dive, and each of those are kind of like a rock paper scissors almost, and that meta developed over time. And every now and then, one of those variants will be overtuned, or people will invent a hybrid composition out of two of those things that just involved the strongest characters at the time. And every now and then, that becomes a dominant meta. There are a few of them. You know, like I want to say like big macro focus happened around the time of GOAT, where a lot of players were very upset that there was an entire section of the hero screen that just was not played. But then people started to wise up and figure out some more things. But that was when people were learning a lot about the macro of GOATs, the macro of just ult economy, space, playing corner to corner, and people learned brawl really well, and they learned how to play slow, which is something Koreans do very well.
Yeah.
A lot of Korean contenders, if you watch, they love playing like dive, but they play it slow, right? They're being really smart about how they take space and their cooldown usage, and it's not a full commit every time like NA often likes to do, just run down the enemy team.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned there about like goats and the slow play, that really brings out like the MOBA elements that Overwatch has in it, because you play it much more like you would like a traditional MOBA like Dota or League of Legends, where you're looking at the enemy's cooldowns, you're tracking them, you're becoming aware of what they can do with the abilities they have and the abilities that they've used, and just keeping track of that and seeing how you can abuse them. Starting out on King's Row here.
This is very
a nice cheeky little Symmetra teleport up there on top of
I don't think they know the
head
quite yet, so now the Bastion's going to move up, and the Pigs goes down to that surprise. GMU has to deal with this. It looks like they do force out the Bastion, thankfully. The Lamp is going to keep up the core of GMU. They didn't have to worry about that too much.
Yeah, it did get scary for a second, though. I like that, too, from SAU. The fact that they didn't just all port up there at the same time, that they sort of delayed the push. It had me making me sort of questioning for a second with full vision of their team if the what was going to even go up there, for the play had already been over, but didn't work out. But it was definitely a good try. I like that a lot.
Yeah, they did end up picking a Binks on the McCree there, and now I like this rotation as well. So they're aware of can't just go through choke all the time. It's not like we have a Mei, but they're coming in a little bit staggered here. So Niner on the Reinhardt, it's the first pick of the play. So like GMU is just able to pull the trigger faster. They're kind of like. Not everyone is on the role they normally play, but I think this is actually like some really good practice for GMU, that everyone's just in tune with each other and know the expectation of each role and is able to still perform it.
Yeah, it seems that in their efforts there to avoid the Doomfist, SAU funneled themselves instead into waiting arms of the Reinhardt, who had his Earth Shatter. So, again, a good idea, but the execution just doesn't work. But I like the fact that they're doing different things. You know, maybe one of these times they're going to get something that Jimmy may not have been expecting.
Absolutely, it's going to be the Hanzo that affected a Binks on the high ground, who was there for too long, goes down first in the fight. But GMU's playing aggressive at the choke. No Reinhardt available for SAU. Goes down.
They did
quick
burn a
there.
lot of utility there. The window did come out from BAP, but didn't get too much value. They're still just trading 1-for-1 in each of these fights, and eventually that is going to favor SAU, who's looking to make a push onto the point now.
Advantage. Zenith is on the Widow. This could turn the fight. He lands a good shot on the Zarya, and Amform finishes that off. Now the Reinhardt's in trouble.
The shield goes down.
But the Shatter lands 3, but there's only 2 members behind him. Moira goes down. The Kree from SAU is on the high ground, but Zapad is taking that duel. Honestly, I think he's gonna win it.
They're gonna pinch him here up top. The BAP window comes out, and 2 is greater than 1, even if it's supports versus a DPS up there.
Unfortunate for SAU. They're trying to find a way to just break GMU's defense, but GMU is also throwing some wrenches into the mix here with a Soldier and a Widow.
A Binks, it doesn't matter if he's on the Doom or the Soldier. He's on the flank, and he's being a real issue for them. He's not even like doing too much. He's just wasting a lot of their time. He's gonna get flanked here though, and gonna be taken out.
He's down 2 members. They have to respond with the grab.
Oh, it's a great grab.
Ready to charge into that. It's a
2
lot
lamps
of
go
damage. But yeah, now Zapad has to respond with the beat. The Shatter comes out from Niner. I think that's what's going to be the turning point in the fight for GMU, but it was so close. SAU almost had a chance there if it not had been for GMU's almost last ult. I think they were about to come up on a window on there.
You can tell both teams knew that was the crucial fight. A lot of ultimates being blown, both the Sound Bearer and the Dragon coming out, Graviton Surge, and both teams using their semi-ultimates, the Baptiste lamp to stay alive in the midst of that fight. But the Earth Shatter, like you said, in the end, is the difference maker and lets George Mason clean up that fight. It's going to be one last push here for SAU.
Gonna pick that high noon already. It looks like a Binks is getting picked pretty often, but it matters not. Maybe getting more value just turning the heads and doing nothing than he would be with the team. I don't know what you're doing there, Binks, but it's working.
And despite their best efforts, SAU does not get to capture that initial objective. So George Mason, this is always the maps that I knew when I was playing, more so that these are the easiest, but sometimes the scariest as well, when you know all you need to do is take that first objective after you've full held the opponents. But if time starts to tick down for George Mason, they might find themselves getting a bit nervous.
Yeah, especially with role lock, you can't switch back to the roles you normally play. So the only role swap we see is Niner on the main tank and Zenith on DPS, but he kind of already plays that. So it's really only Niner on the main tank that could prove maybe not beneficial for GMU. Sorry.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, that's something I didn't even consider with the changes since I've been playing, that these players may potentially be off-rolling, but you can't just off-roll for that one instance. You can't go back, yeah.
No. I remember a lot of the fun times of no roll lock is I'd switch off DPS to Lucio to speed a Zen.
Exactly, or
he was like, yeah.
Where you go Diva or Ball just to get back while your other main tanks are on there. So they're gonna wall off at Binks here and try to pick him off.
He is sprinting, booking it to the clock tower, but is just not able to make it.
Made him work for it a little bit there, getting some distance, but.
Talk about MOBA plays. That's the 0-10 Yasuo from your mid lane.
Unfortunately, it's not a sprint; it's a marathon to get to this objective. So. He's gonna have to
Niner
try again in a sec.
Catch that memo as well.
He's heading on himself.
But doesn't go down. Has great supports that are not off-rolling on the back line to just lift GMU up, put them on their backs, and make sure that they stay stable through all this thick and thin that I'm looking at right now.
And it's like you said with the tactical sprint there for Binks. He respawns and he's right back to sprinting, but this time he's got his front line ahead of him, and he's able to lay down a lot of damage there in that fight.
Yeah, there's just no way you can mess it up. I think Soldier's a little bit overtuned in that sense. You know,
I definitely was a fan of the recoil, although that's not exactly the same thing with the sprint. But when they changed it from the bloom to the sort of gradual rise, definitely I think was a good change to that character.
He definitely really needed it because the balance on his damage, and his kit is it's like a little bit underwhelming, and so that change in the recoil just upped the skill ceiling there. So Soldier was able to be played in a lot of circumstances. I think for the first time in years, I heard our coach say, "I think I'd prefer Soldier here."
Yeah, right.
Or some other pick
Over
and
the Kree or whatever other hit scan.
I've just because like his kit doesn't offer like a stun that Kree has, or the right click burst damage that Kree has, or the 225 health that McCree has. All these examples are just McCree. It's like, why would you not play McCree? And even then, like Ash has a bigger burst damage down at the range. If you throw like a mercy pocket with that, it could be really devastating.
Oh yeah, especially with the damage boost, you can one tap some people.
Oh yeah. I think they've changed that in one patch. They dropped the damage but increased the rate of fire to keep the DPS the same.
Gotcha.
Because the one tap potential was actually too much. And so they were like, let's not have that. You can still one tap a tracer.
Yeah, tracer is always the landmark.
Yeah, right. But in 200 health characters, you're not allowed to one shot those anymore. Now you have to get the old unscope. Get one tap in, quick scope.
Oh yeah, so that you can have that extra rate of fire from being unscoped.
Yeah.
I'm here for George Mason, but I'm also getting a lot of information about how the game's developed. You're bringing me up to speed here, Ash.
Oh yeah.
Despite being a DPS main, not one of the characters I've actually been able to experience playing as much.
It's all part of our plan to bring it back.
Yes. Don't worry, I've done my due diligence recently in Mystery Heroes after watching Owl, so I'm getting a bit of
that Phil.
Yeah. Getting up to speed on everything before they change it all again when when Overwatch 2 comes out.
I saw a great clip of it was entitled XQC reacts, or like his opinion on the new Overwatch, on Overwatch 2. And he's sitting there and he's watching footage from Overwatch 2. He's not saying anything for 10 seconds, and he pauses it and he's like, it's the same game.
Oh, you missed the part where they put a 2 after it.
Yeah.
They'll be adding some new characters anyway.
Yeah, there will
players.
Be some new characters. There's their name Sojourn will be joining.
Yes, Sojourn. There's also the other character that they were going to add instead of Echo, I forget, but regardless, yeah, it's all speculation. Heading into things, I always love the first point here because like Junkertown, which I know people hate, you get to play some of these sniper characters, each team bringing out the Widowmaker here. Excited to see
normally when I'm spectating, when I'm doing like play-by-play, I like to watch overhead, but I think I'm gonna enjoy myself. I'm gonna watch some Xenic first person.
Yes, treat yourself a little bit.
Treat myself.
Yes, I know. As a competitor, picking Widow was always a scary thing because you know if whoever the observer is clicks over to your POV and you're not hitting, then then you can't make the excuses to your team that you're being useful.
No reg.
Oh yeah, you get to see with a bunch of shots. And there you go.
Headshot of the match. I think. Yep. I was gonna say I'm like the Hanzo's peaking very rhythmically. I think that's gonna be another headshot coming up. There's the pile drive onto the point, and now a lot of members of SAU just are missing 2 DPS, and they do manage to pick Niner, who's there on the ball. For some reason, he does go down, and Xenic does go down. It looks like Widow has responded. GMU all of a sudden have to start paying attention.
Yeah, and that's the Overwatch classic of you get 2 opening picks and you start playing a little bit loosey, but when you're in this pushing game mode, the enemy spawns faster than you do, and just as soon as you got 2 picks and you're feeling good, they can turn it right back and start getting some distance on that cart.
Yeah, and that cart is very dangerous to go around. There's a Sombra, a Brig, and as a ball, you have to respect that. It looks like Niner learned that real quick and didn't have to die for it. Xenic getting a pick for himself.
Oh, make it 2 there.
Ooh, that's quite clean. Niner will go down, but he's made enough space for his team that the rest of the members of George Mason, Zappat, and right there can just brawl it with the Brig. It's like
they're
with you, Mac.
Doing a little bit of what you alluded to earlier, making this D.Va's life a bit difficult, getting demeched, then remeched, then demeched again, all in the span of his team's respawning. So he's going to be going back and regrouping, but not exactly the diva you want when she's outside of her mech. I know I've seen some people be able to do some crazy things with that little bunny blaster, but it's not exactly ideal.
So far, that bunny blaster not doing a whole lot right now, just building up enough charge to get the remech at 40%. Looks like Zenith will use the sights here and barely catches Sombra, who is looking to flank. He's on the spawn camp, which is very effective right now. He's getting 2 picks, and GMU just have to quickly run down SAU, who's 2 members short on the point. And this is going to be real tough, I think, for SAU. Now that GMU have all these ults, they have great angles. Amform still has Zapat as the brig on the defense, and there's just no way that I think a Tracer is going to do anything to that, especially when they have Rally and Trance available. So
yeah, and with the Widow here too, and they don't have like a Reinhardt, so most of George Mason is going to be playing. Oh yeah, the double bomb there looking really good. And as the kills come through here, George Mason's just going to extend their lead. What I was going to mention is that without a main shield, playing this sort of like dive but make space for the sniper composition, they're not going to really be grouped up at all, and the EMP from Sombra is not going to have as much value as you might like it to.
Okay, I see what you... I hope our spec actually got the angle of Tracer getting that pulse bomb, because I'm pretty sure the brig bashed into their Moira, and I really want to see that, because that literally happened last game.
Nice. Anform doing a little support frag in here. Oh, and pops the trance just in time to live. Really good. And
Amform. Amform is a Moira main, actually, so seeing him on the Zen and still providing value for his team is quite inspirational.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely not spreading any misinformation about him.
Well, unfortunately, I'm at your discretion here. I just have to be as gullible as possible. You can lead me as astray as you like. Fight's breaking out here. All the ults are getting pots. We got 15 seconds left. It's going to be...
This is the last fight for SAU. I think this might just be it for our time casting together, unfortunately.
Yeah,
we started at 7. It's about to be over already. I feel kind of sad.
It's all right. It's all about rekindling.
All about that.
Getting the foot in the door.
And now GMU has moved up to, I believe that makes it 7-0 in CSL. And another fun fact, that means out of 15 games GMU has played this semester, take a ballpark guess of how many of them were sweeps, not a single map loss. Ballpark guess.
Of how many matches,
15,
you said?
Out of 15 games.
15? Well, you know, I do have some GMU pride, and I like to think that we sort of left behind a good influence, however small it may be in my case. But I'm gonna say 13.
You got it right on the money. 13 sweeps. GMU has moved up to. Wait, did they not play offense yet?
No, they didn't. I was gonna get around to that.
I get way ahead of myself. I was like, oh no.
You're going on such a good rant that I wanted
Why do you stop me?
I wanted to support you and your. Well, you know, here's the thing too is, I have to, a little bit hesitant here. You know, I gotta. You made more than me, so I'm just sort of giving into it. I apologize. I'll
yeah,
make sure to check you more.
They've changed escorts to be one side. They're just doing this bit.
Maybe in quick play.
We play escorts on quick play only.
Yes, the rule set benefits us when you vent first.
Now, I swear, if GMU...
Yeah, here's a composition I remember. A nice little original dive comp.
Oh, yeah, that's OG dive right there. They're doing that just for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Dog going barking in the background.
They're like, let's run a comp that GMU has seen before in the past, that Griff has seen. Now they're
bringing a tear to my eye, using it to great success as well.
Yeah, Zenith and a Binks really working together there in the back. Reminds me of me and someone else. I think his name was Griff. That was
make me cry.
That was very nostalgic, that Tracer Genji play. Looks like
Binks.
SAU has one last contest here. Yeah, Binks on the high ground. Looks like Sombra's on the contest first. And gets the
gets the Enviro kill.
And that's gonna really put a nail in the coffin right there. They're down 3, 4, 5, down 6 in this fight. Okay, GMU do get that sweep.
There you go.
That's 13. That
13. We all knew, right?
That number on the fridge. That's where, of course, all the most important things go.
Absolutely. Little
Hang
clip
that
on the
one
fridge.
up.
Be careful. I know some people aren't too don't really like the number 13. It's been touted as unlucky.
Uh-oh.
Not in this case. We love our sweeps.
We love it. We love our.
Doesn't matter what the number is, as long as it's high.
Yeah. I think they're gonna get some more. I'm hoping that the rest of CSL is a sweep every match, and I think GMU is actually favored to do that. I think the team that I would on my tier list would put at the third. Oh no, I've forgotten their names. But we've already played them. I think it was in the first or second week. And
Gotcha.
they're the only other team to take a map, I believe, off of Shenandoah, the team we reverse sweeped. So, and then Shenandoah and GMU are pretty neck and neck. But of course, we don't have to play Shenandoah anymore in the regular season. So it's really looking like it's going to be the undefeated season. Hopefully, it's going to be all but one sweeps and CSL NACE, as we call it.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like that's it for tonight.
That does mark the end of our cast together, but appreciate you bringing me in. Yeah, just for tonight. I got to.
We'll get you back.
Got a little warm up. Got my peek into the NACE region that we're doing here.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of
warm it up.
Rediscover the game of Overwatch with my George Mason family.
Absolutely heartfelt. That was very
I'm getting a little poetic here. I apologize.
I mean, that's quite all right. When we started the stream, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be like meme central up in here," and no, we're just being nostalgic the whole time. But that's what we had to get out of the way, and now we can really bring, hopefully, the comedy for next week.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be a blast either way. Don't miss it. GMU will be playing at the same time. That'll be 7 o'clock next week on Monday, unless some reschedules happen, in which case just stay up to date in the Discord or the Twitter. I don't think we let you know but the Discord. The link is below us, below the stream. The Discord's there. Join it. Please stay up to date with GMU. Overwatch is, of course, not the only esport we play. Rocket League also often gets streamed. Hopefully, we get a little bit more from, I think, League of Legends and Valorant.
I was going to say, any Valorant enjoyers in the chat? I know I am now, but...
Yeah, and you can... Honestly, I think it's Overwatch and Rocket League that are the only ones that have casters. And if you're having a blast, I'm sure some other games will really enjoy that as well. We should just cast all the games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just get in there.
We'll draft up a contract and we'll just sit here and talk at each other over all these games. I'd be happy to.
That'd be a blast. All right, Lauren, please sign us. My people, your people, contact.
They'll get in contact with each other.
They'll get in contact.
They'll work something out.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I've been Hamster Quest. I still am, joined by Griff. And do you want to sign off as well?
Yeah,
Hey, speak.
My name's Griff.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm the biggest GMU Esports fan that there ever is and ever will be. And I appreciate getting to hop back on the cast for the first time. I don't know why I said hop back on, but just reliving the glory days, one last ride, Reinhardt style.
Absolutely. All right, well, we'll get it next week as well. And of course, thanks to our spec Vinny, who's our media management.
Thank you, Vinny.
Okay.